math day. We've been spending a lot of time adding, putting things together, but today we're going to talk about subtraction. It means we're going to take things away. So if I had 5 circles here, I could take 5 of them away by, clicking them and deleting them. You can't do that in your math book. So when we get rid of things, we are going to X them out. So if I want to get rid of 3 of these 5 circles, I could X them out. I could X out one of these, and another one of these, and another one of these. I've X'd out 3, which means I have 2 left over. If I X out, I still have 5. If I X out 3, 1, 2, 3. See, I haven't X'd out the same ones. I've X'd out 3 here, and I've gotten rid of 3 here, and I still have 2 left over. And I still have 5, and I'm going to cross out 3. 1, 2, 3. And I still have 2 left over. The problem with what I'm doing when I'm Xing them out, it's making it harder for me to figure out how many I've got left over. So when you cross them out, you could cross them out like that for sure, because it doesn't change what your answer is. It changes how easy it is to find your answer. So what you should do is, if you have a bunch, I still have 5 and I still want to take away 3, is cross them out in a row. It makes it much easier to see how many you have left over with. I like to X out from the back, because then I can just count the front. So I'm still going to get rid of 3. And I'm still going to have 2 left over. So we've always started with 5, we've always taken away 3, and we've always had 2 left over. So we're going to make number sentences for taking away, just like what we did for adding. So we've always started with 5, and we took away always 3. And when you take away something, you don't put a plus sign in between. We're going to put, this is called a takeaway, a minus sign, or it's called subtraction, and we're going to end up, still have equals, with how many we have left over. So when we read it, we could say 5 minus 3 equals 2. Or we could say 5 take away 3 equals 2. Means the same thing. But when we say take away, it might be a little bit easier for us to hear in our head what we're doing. This is the number we start with. This is how many we take away, minus, subtract. And this is how many we end up with. This is always how many we start with. So we started with 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now we're going to take away 4. So how did we take away? We X them out. You can X them out at the front if you want. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we started with 7. We took away 4. How many do we end up with? 1, 2, 3. So 7 minus 4 equals 3. 7 take away 4 equals 3. Same thing. We start with 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're going to take away 3. I like to take it away from the end. It doesn't matter though, as long as they're all together. I started with 8. I took away 3. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left over. How many start with? How many you take away? How many you end up with? So how about you pause me? You make 6 circles, you take away 2, and you find out what the answer is. You all have dry erase boards. Try it for yourself. So you have 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You take away 2. 1, 2. You have 4 left over. This is what your number sentence should look like. You started with 6. You take away 2. You end up with 4. All right. Now our number we don't have to draw anything. Our number sentences are actually even done for us already. We started with 4 stars. We take away 0 stars. 0 is nothing, so there are no x's. How many do we end up with? We still end up with 4. Here, we started with 3 hearts. See, we have 3. We take away 3, so we have 1, 2, 3 x's. How many hearts do we have left over? None. This is tricky for grade 1. Unless you are really slow when you think about it. This is how many we start with. This is how many we take away. This is how many we end up with. So, at your house, maybe you need to grab things to help you. So we start with 5. You're like, I don't know, I've got 5 blocks. 5 blocks. And you can take away 2 blocks. I can't. I have to X them out. And now you have 3 blocks left over. Start with 3. Take away 2. 3 left. Start with 5, Miss J. Take away 2. End up with 3. Or Lego. You could start with 8 blocks. Take away 3 blocks. I can't take them away. 1, 2, 3. And you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 left over. How many you start with, how many you take away, how many are left over. Maybe you have stuffies. So 5 stuffies. If you take away 2 stuffies, how many do you have left over? Take away 2. You have 3 left over. So here we have 2 counters. 1, 2. We start with 2. Can I take away 5? Those look like eyeballs. Can I take away 5 circles if I have just started off with 2? No. In math, it's super duper important if we're doing takeaway that the bigger number goes first. When we do adding, doesn't matter. You can start with the 2 or you can start with the 5. In takeaway, it super duper matters because if you start with 2, you can't take away 5. So when we do takeaway, the biggest number always needs to be first. And then these 2 are going to be smaller. So I want you to take out your dry erase board, see if you can figure out the answer. This is how many we start with. This is how many we take away. I'm just going to keep going. And if you want it, you should do it, but then you should pause me. So we start with 5. We start with 5. We take away 1. We end up with equals 4. 4 take away 3. Take out your dry erase board. Start with 4. Take away 3. 1, 2, 3. Ends up with equals 1 circle. All right. You do it. Start with 5, take away 4. Start with 5. I'm just going to cheat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take away 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 equals 1 left over. You do it. 6 take away 3 equals Start with, take away this many, find out how many are left. Start with 6. Take away 3. Doesn't matter which 3. It matters, though, that you do it in a row. Makes it easier. 3 left over. So you have 3 pages today. On the first page, they've never done the number sentence and all the pictures for you. So they've started with 4. They even took away 1 for you. All you have to do is find out how many are left over. On the next page, they've given you how many to start with. They've started with 4. They've started with 5. They've started with 3. You have to X out how many to take away. So they give you 4. You have to take away 2. And you have to say what the answer is. And on the last page, you have to do it all. You have to show 5, then you take away 3, then you tell me how many are left over. And then you can work on some splash math. I've borrowed somebody else's from on the computer. If you're on a tablet, you know that you have to go to the very first balloon. If you're on a computer, it's going to look like this. And I've given you subtract using pictures. Some of you have done this already. Some of you have not done the other stuff yet. That's okay, but that's what I would like you to do today if you are allowed to work on your tablet or computer.